And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the South Fork. From East Hampton to Riverhead and Shelter Island, we worship and reside on the ancestral lands of the Nantucket, the Quechog, the Shinnecock, and the Manhasset. And we acknowledge this each week in our service to recognize the Native people who cared for this land before European colonization. We also recognize the beings that they share this land with and our continued relationship with our Shinnecock neighbors today. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you vote, wherever you are on your life's journey, whatever your name for the sacred, you are very welcome here. I am the Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson. Our musician this morning is Abby Fleming. Our team of tech hosts include Carl Wittenberg, Ken Martin, and Monica Cesada. And if you are joining us online, you have access to live transcript, if that is necessary or helpful to you. If you're joining us in person, we have hearing adaptive devices, if that is helpful to you. And just a reminder that this service is being recorded, except for the joys and concerns. I have a couple of announcements this week. The first is that our Finance Committee is meeting on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. Our Finance Committee does the important work of helping to keep our ship afloat. And so if you are interested in any of the money aspects, money is an important thing to keeping this congregation moving, then join us Wednesday night. You can find information in the bulletin, or you can contact John Andrews for more information. And then looking a little further ahead, because this is the last time you will see me up here before then, I will be away the last 2 weeks in July. For one of those weeks, I'll be off the coast of New Hampshire at Star Island, for the UU Faith Development Week. I'll be serving as Minister of the Week there. And then for the second of those weeks, I will be joining my family for a family reunion. I will be smack dab in the middle of what we expect to be 5 generations. And so that is pretty exciting. If you have announcements that you'd like to share, please get them to the office by Tuesday of the week that you'd like them to be announced. And if you're visiting either in line or online or in person, we hope you'll sign our guest book in the fellowship hall or virtually online. It's a way for us to stay in touch with you and let you know more about what happens here and to find out more about you. We hope that you will come back and find a place for yourself here. You can also online find the online order of service to follow along, and especially to follow along to the words to the hymns we'll be singing during the service. I'll begin by lighting our chalice with these opening words from Eric Williams. In the beginning, there was light, infinite and expansive, flowing out from an unseen center. Throughout creation, there is light, from the steady sun, the glowing moon, the flashing meteor, the twinkling stars, the auroras dancing in the northern skies. Within you, there is light, the same light as the source, the same radiance as in all creatures. May this flame be a constant reminder to you of your true nature and your kinship with all beings. This Sunday, we will be exploring creation stories. So if you are new, you may not know this. If you are not new, then you have heard me say many times how much I love a good story. And today we have what I think are 4 good stories from different parts of the world about how this whole thing was created. I think stories tell us a lot about what is important to the storyteller. And maybe they can give us some wisdom to what is or might be important to us. I hope you find them entertaining and illuminating. The first of those stories is from the biblical book of Genesis. That story starts in the beginning. In the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth, there was complete chaos and darkness. And then a wind from God swept over the face of the chaos, and God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. And God saw this light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. The light God called day, the darkness God called night. And that was the first day. And God said, "Let there be an expanse in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." So God made the expanse and separated the waters that were under the expanse from the waters that were over the expanse. And it was so. God called the expanse sky. And that was the second day. And God said, "Let the waters under the sky be gathered together into one place, and let dry land appear." And that was so. God called that dry land earth, and the waters that were gathered together, God called seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the earth put forth vegetation, plants yielding seed and fruit trees of every kind." And that was so. And God saw that it was good, and that was the third day. Then God said, "Let there be lights in the expanse of the sky to separate the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years, and give light upon the earth." And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater of the light to rule the day, and the lesser of the light to rule the night and the stars. And God set them in the expanse of the sky to give light upon all the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to separate the lightness from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. And the day and the morning was the fourth day. Then God said, "Let the waters bring forth swarms of living creatures, and let the birds fly above the earth and across the expanse of sky." So God created great sea monsters and every living creature that moves of every kind, and every winged bird of every kind. And God saw that it was good. And God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth." And there was evening and morning, and the fifth day. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures of every kind, cattle and creeping things and animals of the earth of every kind." And it was so. God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let us make humankind in our own image, according to our likeness. And let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth." And it was so. And God blessed them. And God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth." And it was so. God saw that everything that God had made, and indeed, it was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, and that was the sixth day. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished in all their multitude. And on the seventh day, God finished God's work and rested. So God blessed the seventh day and hallowed it, because on it, God rested from all the work that had been done in creation. This first song for us to sing together, number 207 in your gray hymnal, Earth Was Given as a Garden. It's to the tune of Blue Boat Home, if that is more familiar to you. This second story may be less familiar, but probably familiar to some. It is from the Kabbalah tradition of Jewish mysticism. This is a retelling written by the Reverend Amy Petrie Shaw on the shattering of the vessels. So at the beginning of time, before anything else at all existed, love was all there was, and it filled up everything in the whole universe. But love got bored and lonely. There was no one to be in love with. So one day, love decided to make a world. First, it took a deep breath. Can you take a deep breath? Deeper, deeper. It breathed in as deep as it possibly could. But love got all squished up, taking the deepest breath ever. and it was so squished that it squeezed out darkness. The darkness was all around, thick and shiny and black. It was beautiful. But now, love couldn't see anything. And so love waved its arms and legs around, but the darkness was everywhere. I have to do something about this, said love. And it thought for a minute. And it tried to think of the most wonderful, beautiful, warm thoughts ever. Can you do that? Try to think of the most wonderful, beautiful, warm thoughts ever. Love thought harder, and all of a sudden, love called out, I want light, and pop! All the warm and wonderful and beautiful thoughts exploded outward in 10 different directions and shaped themselves into 10 big glowing glass balls. Each ball was filled with a spinning lump of pure light and warmth. Some of the spare, good thoughts that couldn't quite fit into the glass became dust and water and vapor and seeds and molecules that could form animals. And love said, this is amazing. I better make something for this light to shine on. And so it waved its arms and kicked its legs, and all of the dust and water vapors and molecules that had been scattered around when the glass balls formed, all of those began to form into another huge ball. This one of dirt and water and plants and animals. Love called that huge ball Earth. The 10 balls of light started towards the Earth. And if they had made it here in one piece, then the entire planet would have been exactly the way love wanted it. But the glass bowls were too fragile to contain such strong, powerful, wonderful, good thoughts. And they broke open and shattered and were scattered. They broke open and shattered, and all of the good thoughts shattered and flew out like sparks that were scattered, like sand, like seed, like stars. The spark fell everywhere on the earth in tiny bits, instead of, though, the big clumps like love intended. Oh no, said love. I'm too big. I'll never, ever be able to find all of those tiny sparks. I have to make one more thing. So, love waved its arms. Can you do that? Waved its arms and its legs, kicked its feet one last time, and then people appeared on the earth. They didn't know it, but they were created with one job: to find these sparks, these tiny pieces of wonderful goodness, and bring them together again in big clumps. When enough big clumps are there, I will recreate the big glass containers to hold them. And this time, I will set them down a little more carefully, love said. So all of us, from the time we were born, have one job. And that job is to help find love and more good and warmth and wonderful things. And when we do this, we are fixing the world. We here support this congregation, and I think through a little part of fixing the world, when we offer our gifts of time and talent and treasure. Your financial contributions help to support the work of this congregation and the ways that we are able to show up in our community. Our Helping Hand Fund goes to support organizations locally doing good work, and a portion of that, the Minister's Discretionary Fund, supports individuals in immediate need. If you are in person, the baskets will circulate. And if you're online, you can contribute using PayPal or a check as always. However you give, it will be gratefully received. In my excitement to get started, in my welcome, I neglected to open the space to invite any visitors who would like to introduce yourselves to introduce yourselves. We are always excited when we have visitors. We'd love to know you are here and where you're from. And also, you are welcome to sit and join us and say nary a word. And I'm going to bring you a microphone so that we're able to share you with the people who are joining us online. Oh, well, yeah, I can do that. And then I also get to show off my cool shoes.
Happy to be here. My name is Kathy Greathouse, and I live in Bridgehampton part-time and in the Bronx part-time. And I am a member of the All Souls. Thank you. It's so good to be here. Thank you.
Glad you're here.
I'm happy to introduce my friend Susan, who lives half-time in Hampton Bays and half-time in Longboat Key.
Welcome. Wait, I'm looking at the camera there. We are glad you're here. Oh, I can do this here. This is the time in our community of shared faith